Hello guys, happy new year to you all once more. So just want to break down a trade I took on the currency pair, and this is the first take profit of the year. So we're starting with this, and this trade was a 1:8 RR, meaning that if you are risking as small as $10 on this particular trade, you'll be coming out with as much as $80 on the trade. That is the beautiful thing about trading. You understand? So this is the first take profit of the year. And as you know, a lot is going to come. The scale is already there. So let me just give you guys a breakdown of the trade. So it's actually on GbpJpy, and the same entry model, but different trading mindset or different story attached to it. My entry was here, or at this zone here. This was my entry. Here was my entry. Here was my entry. And as you all know, I trade one pattern of model. If I'm taking a buy, I only trade this. I only trade this for my buy. This is what I'm looking out for. You understand? This is actually the only thing I'm looking out for my buy. Then I have to make sure that my buyer's time frame is what? Saying the same thing as my entry time frame. So this is what we had here. So I want to see price take out a liquidity, and that is what we had here. So let's mark out our trend. On the recent trend, we had a break of structure here, and price broke to the upside here, changing what? Changing character from downtrend to an uptrend. So I had this guy, which is my what? Protected what? Low. And I had this guy, which is my liquidity here. And I had this guy as my what? As my low that was swept. As you all know, if you have been watching my video, you will notice that I trade the least time frame I enter trade from is the 1 hour. If you look above here, you won't see anything less than 1 hour. If I didn't get my confirmation on 1 hour, I'm not taking the trade. So I swing trade all through. So this trade was 1:8 RR. So on this particular trade, like I told you guys, I got my entry from the 4 hours time frame. If you look at the 4 hours time frame, the trend is totally bullish on the 4 hours. You can see a lower low, lower high, lower low. Then you had a higher high, higher low, higher high. So here was my what? Was my take profit. And you can see that price has hit it already. Now this trade took 3 days for it to hit the exact take profit. It took 3 days. I wanted to make sure that this is recorded. It took 3 days for it to hit the exact take profit. Here was when I placed the trade. You can see the screenshots when I placed the trade. And here was when the trade hit take profit. And I got my notification here. So let me break down this trade for you guys. So it's a simple trade. The entry was from 4 hours. We scale down to the what? Let's scale down to the monthly time frame and see what is happening on the monthly time frame. On the monthly time frame, without much talk, you can see that the trend is bullish. We have this side that has been taken away. You understand? And there is no what? There is no any sign of weakness on this buy. You can see the candlestick closing out heavily. You cannot see any sign of retracement. Even though for those that trade, for my students, for my guys that know how I trade, normally I won't take this trade because already the price is what? At the premium zone. But then again, just looking at what price is doing here, there's no any sign of weakness of sellers coming in. So it's what the market gives us. That is what we're going to take. You understand? like I told you guys always, just because the price is at the premium zone doesn't necessarily mean you sell. You have to wait for what? You have to wait for a reaction. You have to wait for price to give you reason to sell. So on a monthly time frame, the trend is bullish. Now we scale down to the weekly time frame. So I'm currently on my bias time frame right now. Now on the weekly time frame was where problem was on this particular trade. Let me remove everything here. And for me, this is me telling you that you have to go and learn candlestick. You understand? Having candlestick in your bag, the basic of candlestick. On the candlestick, we have one candlestick pattern, two candlestick pattern, and we have three candlestick pattern. It's very important you learn the candlestick pattern. You understand? Especially the three candlestick pattern. Now, on this particular trade, normally I wouldn't have taken this trade because I deal with imbalance, which is the fair value gap. I had a fair value gap here on the weekly time frame, which I was expecting price to come and fill up. You understand? But there's one thing I use in trading. If I'm taking trades from the 4 hours time frame, I want my weekly time frame to have set. Now I'm going to explain it to you guys for you guys to understand. Now, if I'm going to buy on the 4 hours time frame, let's say this week I want to buy on GbpJpy on the 4 hours time frame, I always want to make sure that the candlestick that closed for last week on GbpJpy is signaling what? Buy. Yes, that is one of the biggest trick I'm using, and it works like magic, especially if I'm taking trade from my favorite time frame, which is the 4 hours. You understand? So I take trade from 1 hour, 4 hours, but 4 hours is just the best for me. You understand? I also trade from the daily time frame, but it's not that much. So I pay attention to candlestick very, very much. And if you look at this weekly time frame, a lot of guys here we are waiting for price to fill in this fair value gap. But fair value gap on its own is a concept which people trade, and liquidity also is a concept which people trade. Some people use it as strategy. You understand? Which means it is not all the time price gets to a fair value gap or gets to fill an imbalance. When I'm talking about imbalance, just know that I'm talking about fair value gap. It is not all the time price will come to a fair value gap, or we come to an imbalance. The same thing with liquidity. I share my trades publicly, and I could know how many times, because I use trade with pending order. Most of my trade is pending order, and so many times I will drop a trade and price won't get to that liquidity. Price will just respect that zone and start going, and it will be a missed entry, which happens. So the same thing that happened here, a lot of guys are waiting for this fair value gap to be tapped on for the buyers to continue. But then again, there are things, like I said, you have to pay attention to what is the last week candlestick signaling. What is it telling? Looking at this candle here is a very bullish candlestick sign, signaling that buyers are in control. That is number one. So the momentum of this breaking out and coming to this fair value gap is low. Yes, it's low. Is very, very low. This is one thing I've observed from the way I trade. Now we scale down to the daily time frame. Very simple stuff. You understand? This was the trade was taken from this demand zone here. This was the demand zone the trade was taken. Remember, this zone was marked on the weekly. So we had a break of structure here. Now, another reason why I was able to take this trade despite a fair value gap being below was because of this. If you look at this break of structure that happened there, this was a week to body break of structure, not a week to week break of structure. If this break of structure that happened there was a week to week break of structure, I wouldn't have taken this buy from this demand zone. It means that this demand zone here has lost momentum. The only reason why I was able to take this setup here from this demand zone was because this break of structure happened there covered with a full-bodied candle, and it is very, very important for me, showing that buyers still has strength and momentum. You understand? So in as much as you want to be following the trend and paying attention to the trend, also pay attention to what? This basic candlestick scenario is going to help you improve in your trading and win more of your trade. I won't lie to you. So now immediately I saw that this was covered here, I now scaled down to the 4 hours time frame, and that was how I was able to catch this particular trade. And you can see this was when the trade hit take profit, and this was when I got my notification. So for more contents like this, all you need to do is follow us on Instagram, Trade with Cassie. You can follow us also on TikTok. We have TikTok, Trade with Cassie. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Trade with Cassie. Thanks for watching. God bless you.